Hi there, I'm Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com, from Tapping.me, and I'm also the creator of the program Catapulting to Confidence. I want to talk to you today and ask you, are you following like a sheep? And what I mean by that is, are you looking for products and programs online from other people, getting coaching from other people, getting energy work from other people, and listening to them as if they are the authority? Or are you listening to your own gut instincts of what feels right, what doesn't, trying to force and resist situations that don't feel good to you? Are you eating foods that you like? Are you spending time with people that you like? The idea of following like sheep is just because someone else did it that way doesn't mean it's going to work for you that way. When I first started out in sales, everybody told me I had to visit the client and go and wine and dine them. And yet I hated traveling for business. I just didn't want to do it. And so I thought, well, okay, I could do that, but I honed my skills. I got very good over the phone, and I closed a lot of major accounts, including places like Disney in Florida, over the phone. Now, a lot of people who would believe you have to go and wine and dine would never think that's possible. A lot of people who think that you have to do videos if you're an online marketer, if you're an entrepreneur, that you have to do it in a certain way. You need to do it in a certain way based on your rhythm. Some people will say, well, the early bird gets the worm. Get up early in the morning. Start your day at 7. Oh my gosh, if I started my day at 7, that would totally go against what rhythm feels good to me. The point of this audio is that I'm an older entrepreneur at this point, and I have heard and seen a lot of stuff that is like rounding up people to say, if you do XYZ, that will bring you success. I've heard that from online entrepreneur promises. I've heard that from coaching and energy promises. I've heard that from mentors. No, I would question if they are not asking you what makes your heart sing, if they are not asking you or directing ideas to you, or you're lining up with ideas that feel good to you, oh, you probably will be undoing a lot of sheep-like behavior. You know, in hindsight, you always have much more perspective, and my hindsight is bringing me tons of information left and right all the time, and it's really good stuff. But I wish I had known some of this back when. While I may have learned a lot, I wish I had known some of what I've known now back then, as I think that's pretty common for most people. But I want to share some of those insights, because if you are listening to everybody and everything telling you how and what and how you should act, who you should be, what you should do, it's going to take you a while to undo that if you get too locked into it. So my story was, it seemed like I had a mass exodus of everything in my life that was comfortable and normal. Now, I had been on a self-development path for a long time, since I was in my early 20s, and I was seeking and looking. My problem was I didn't have the influence of mentors or how to do it differently. I was surrounded by a lot of sheep-like mentality thinking people. And, you know, God love them, and I'm not saying anything negatively about their intent. They were trying to keep me safe, trying to put me on a path that they knew would be safe, I guess, and not necessarily what would be thriving. And I always had this internal conflict about, yeah, but that doesn't look like any fun. Yeah, but that sounds really boring. Yeah, but why would I want to do that? And adulthood looks like it could really suck. I don't like this picture that you're telling me or showing me or describing to me. So fast forward many years later, I got into a situation where there was a lot of illness among my family, with 2 different people overlapping at the same time. It was a horrific time. I'm not going to go into detail. Suffice it to say, it was the most difficult, heartbreaking, heart-wrenching time of my life. And it interrupted me in gigantic ways. I couldn't get back on my feet for the longest time. It really devastated me. It was heartbreaking because not only of the losses, but of the side effects that came, the relationships that changed with siblings. Suffice it to say, it felt like hell on earth. And I didn't know, I didn't have the tools to necessarily know how to get out of that, though I had started learning about a lot of energy things. I'm a tapping advocate. I love the technique. I love energy work when it works, when you can get to the core, when you can figure out what the heck you're doing. but it seemed like I was chasing my tail, chasing my tail, chasing my tail. And people were helping me or mentoring me or doing my session work with me through their own filter, which really wasn't coinciding with what I needed. And while I could feel that, and it was some comfort along the way, it never really got me to open up to what was really in my heart and soul. There were parts of doing energy work and coaching that I really enjoyed. There were parts that I really hated. There were parts about sales that I wanted so desperately to get back to because I loved it. The interaction, all that stuff happening. But instead, I was really devastated by some life events that took me to the mat. I was flat out exhausted. Just really, it interrupted my whole life. And I didn't really ask so much why, but I was in the, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? I'm no longer a partner. I'm no longer a daughter. I'm no longer a sibling. And how do I do this? I don't know how to do this. I had left a job and was caretaking. So really, when I say my life was in disarray and in an upheaval, I'm not kidding. Everything was changed. Everything, except where I lived. That was about the only thing that was constant. And it wasn't necessarily where I wanted to live. It was where it was safe to stay because it was familiar. It took me a long time to uncover what the heck was happening. Why was this so devastating? And how do I get out of it? That was the bigger thing. I could kind of see that it had broken my life apart to rebuild, but you got to figure out how to get through that. I used tapping. I used different energy work, but all along I kept feeling like it's not getting to the source. It's not getting to the source. I needed to focus on how to change the energy of being safe, which I didn't feel anymore. How to focus on being connected, which I didn't feel anymore. How to overcome the trauma, which people were dealing with, how it was manifesting for me in money and friendships, and they weren't talking or working through the trauma with me. And there was no, why is this happening, to break apart so that you can rebuild the life that you want instead of being mentored and following the sheep that you've been around most of your life, Joanne. So, there was a lot of upheaval, and that's all I could focus on because it was so devastating. I will say that energy stuff saved my behind going through all that, because if I had had no tools, oh my goodness. But what I would suggest to you is, if you are following like sheep, if you are buying programs because they promise XYZ, if you are following people that just don't feel right, if you are listening to how to make, oodles of money in a quick amount of time, and it doesn't feel right, or you're feeling some resistance, pay attention, because it's trying to get you into a different mode. If you are dating the wrong person and it doesn't feel right, if you are resisting parts of your life, whether that be people, situations, certain attitudes, do you know that if you believe something about a substance, I'm talking like food or a product or whatever, fill in the blank, if you believe something is true about that, you will kind of force it without listening to your intuition. I think a good coach and mentor starts to help you uncover what you are all about, because it's just gotten buried. It's in there. I promise you, it's in there. Every client that has come to see me, every time I have, coached someone, I'm not necessarily looking at what do I think they should be doing, although I'm sure that mixed in when I was an early coach. I think that's part of the learning process. But as I gained more skill, it was about, what do you need? What are you about? What are you resisting in your life? This I know for sure. The more you resist, the more pain is going to come. And if you can get to the underlying, what's the safety? Where's the belonging that you need? Who do you need to be around that would be not even like-minded, but just feel right? And I'm not talking feel right out of safety as a little blanket there. I'm talking when something feels right. You've got to start paying attention to those things. And when something feels really wrong, you've got to start paying attention to those things, because I promise you, decades later, especially if you are in your early years, decades later, you will still be looking for them, for their approval, for their, words and insights to tell you how to do it. And just because you may be young, or because you don't lack the experience that someone has, your soul knows what you need. Your soul knows what makes you happy. Your job is to start uncovering that and to find coaching or help or products and programs that feel right. Now, there is a difference between some fear and huge anxiety resistance. And I see a lot of young entrepreneurs mix that up when they are in huge resistance and almost terror of doing something that they're being told, oh, if you only do this, this will make you successful. If you only do it this way, it will make you successful. I would encourage you to start paying attention to what kind of people do you like to be around? What kind of things do you like to do? What kind of activities bring you joy? Because the more you can start to focus on that, the more it will open up for you. And in the meantime, those things that you are resisting, those people and situations that are influencing you, that are causing you pain, causing you, draining of your energy, start to pay attention more to what doesn't feel right and more to what does feel right, and then do some energy work to switch that up. If you need a coach, if you need a mentor, you can contact me, you can connect with me, but I might not be the right person for you. You have a significant journey that is waiting for you. I can't tell you how much I understand that that's the truth now. And I think that's why it takes so many people to get into their older years, into their 50s, before they say, what the heck have I been doing? I've been listening to every mentor that came along. Their journey might not be yours. Their path might not be yours. But you know when something feels good. There's an ease in your body. It feels light versus heavy. You know what you need, but you may have been so programmed to shut it down. And that's the job of a coach, to start to uncover what you need, what you want, by what you say, by how they pay attention to what you're saying and speaking, not what they can put into you, or how they can fix you, or how they're going to make it all better with a magic wand. I think there kind of is a magic wand when you start to pay attention in the right way, but no one outside of you is going to do that. They can help you, they can guide you, but it's going to come from inside of you. And the more you can line up with people and situations that do that with you, where it feels right for you, and I'm not talking just like a little cover to say, oh yeah, this feels, I can catch my breath here in this space. You may need some of that too at times. But I really do believe we each have what is in our heart and soul that can come out with the right people around us. And if you're looking for that kind of community, you can contact me. I can hook you up with certain communities and Facebook things that I would recommend, only if they feel right for you. I did that. I started looking for where do I belong, and I joined a lot of different Facebook groups, and I left them just as quickly when they felt like the conversation was anything but aligned with what I knew or what I felt. Give yourself time to figure some things out. And I know when there's a crunch about, I should be this far in life by now. I should be making this money. I should be having this kind of family or this kind of situation or this kind of home. You can do all that and still end up in your 50s saying, what the heck have I done? Because was it the right combination for you? Are you following like a sheep, or are you paying attention to what your gut is telling you, what your intuition is telling you, what your energy is telling you? Are you eating the foods just because you're supposed to eat these foods because everybody says they're so great? I'm sorry, but I do not like avocados. I don't like them. I will maybe sometime in the future like them, but I'm not going to put myself through that kind of suffering and resistance to eat something that someone else is telling me is good, because if I'm that uncomfortable with it, it's not what I need. It's not what I want. It's not what will bring me comfort, energy, joy. Your body's going to talk to you. It's going to tell you what you need, not only with situations, but people, places, scenarios. And I hope you can start to listen, whether it's someone like me that you watch or listen to or helps you, or it's someone that's even more suited to you. Seek, and don't just fall into the same old that everybody else is doing or telling you, because your path could be very different, and that's what your heart and soul wants to do, what's right for you. So I hope this brought you some insight. I hope it brings some comfort. One of the things I would suggest is there is a documentary, The Hero's Journey, and it kind of explains the ups and downs. Those are going to happen. If you think you're going to go through life and it's going to be hunky-dory, those milestones, those things that, I won't say test you, because I don't think they're a test. I think they're falling away or shaking up so that you're going to uncover what's in your highest and best good, so that you're going to uncover what you're meant to do, so that you're going to be able to go on your own path. And it can be painful. Tapping can help you through that, but you also have to know how to use it to uncover what you really want. And I have learned that skill. I consider myself an expert in that arena because not only did I have to go through it, but I've helped a lot of other people do it too. This is Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com from tapping.me. I hope this helps. And here's to your best life, to your most fulfilling, happy soul, and wishing you well. Until our paths cross again, bye-bye for now.